Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for today's expert session with Srikumar sir on trends in senior living. For today's session, the expert we have is Mr. Srikumar sir, and now about him. So, Srikumar sir has over 25 years of work experience across two specific industries, financial services and HR services. He has been in the senior services industry for last 9 years. Let's make this session very, very interactive as much as possible. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining again. Sir, the
Yeah.
stage is all yours.
Thanks, Priya, for those nice, wonderful words. It's always nice to hear some things about you, which whether you believe it or not, it's still nice to ring in those nice words. So good evening, and it's wonderful to see a set of people over here. And let's, as Priya said, let's make this as interactive as possible, because what is senior living all about? It's all about experiences that each of us bring to the table, and that shapes in form of the solutions that are being provided, right? So I'm going to try to cover this as comprehensively as possible, touching not only the brick and mortar part, that is your senior living and things like that, but also the trends that have happened. That because when I talk about senior living, I took a look at two scenarios. One is seniors who are living in their own residences, right? That is also senior living, right? And two, senior living as in institutional, where you have independent living, you have assisted living, you have care continuum, memory care, palliative care, and so on and so forth. I do understand from Priya that sometime back you've had a couple of people speak on senior living. So I thought, let me touch a little different. I'll take a slightly a different thing to my topic today, then making it very rhetoric. So let me qualify by saying that I'm 60. In a few days I'll turn 61, which means I'm very much in the in this line. And why am I saying that? See, primarily I believe that when a senior person talks to you, it makes a lot more of sense, because I'm actually living in this space. This age between 55 and 65 is a very, very vulnerable age. Some of us must be having parents who are elder and we are taking care while we are reaching the age of 60. On the other side, we are ourselves approaching this particular age. So the complexities are fine. And added to that would be, your adolescent children or children who are married and who are moved out of home. So this is actually a big circle, age to be in. And let's see how best we can make out of it, and what are the trends that are happening to help us. Let me also tell you that through this topic, I'm not going to touch on any negative aspects. I'm going to try and see how things are made to make senior living a very, very happy space to be in. Okay. So, if you look at, just to start with saying that, how do people look at this? If you look at the business is looking at the senior community as a emerging opportunity. It is a class of people whom they are suddenly focusing on, because what is happening is the new 60s are the 40s of the yesteryears. They have enough and more to spend, and the 70s are still very active. So therefore what happens is that the business is looking at this as, the business sector is looking at this as a very good opportunity. Whereas politically, as a nation, they're looking at this as a huge tsunami which is sweeping down on nations, and many of the nations are caught in the tsunami, not really knowing what to do. Specific in cases, countries like South Korea, Japan, all these countries are suddenly faced with a huge. So therefore, that is another challenge. And the third one is, it is in general, if you ask a person of a lesser age, he says, hey, this is a very challenging age group of people to deal with. And this is how a youngster looks at it. So this is where we are happily. So let's not worry about what people think, but we are in this very, very happy space. If you look at the trends today that have happened in the senior living, I can take it across products, processes, IT, healthcare, housing, travel, finance, so much more. I mean, there is so much happening into the senior living space, and that is very, very specific to elders. And many of these areas that I've touched on are very specific to the elders, and I will take this as we move on. And as I told you, I will also touch upon the retirement communities. I will also touch upon the other facilities which are the brick and mortar part of it. So if I look at what are the interesting trends from a senior living that has happened to elders? First is the space itself, that there is a organization called Sukoon Love, and that it is organizing a connect like this, and that people have joined together just to understand, interact with each other. This is a new trend that is happening. Correct. Not many of these were happening earlier. I have grown up in this in the last 9 years. I've spent time in the sector. I've seen that more and more people are coming forward now and talking. So I think the biggest trend that is happening, and the biggest trend that should happen in senior living, is people should open out. They should look out for spaces where they can establish their comfort zones. They can connect and communicate with like-minded people. And this is one of the biggest impacts that we are seeing in senior living, right? The second one is the technology platforms that have arisen for senior living. And let me give you a very small example for this. In the US, there is this technology platform which was started called a place for mom. It is a placeformom.com, which has got funded more than 65 million US dollars till date. But what does this place for mom do? This place for mom created a platform where people could get on. They could discuss issues of common nature. It could be relating to dementia, it could be relating to palliative care, and each other could share their experiences. And this whole platform suddenly became so vibrant that so many people, more than a million people joined on this platform, because they found a solace, and they
Brother,
found
mute,
answers
mute,
to
mute,
what
siap.
they were
Mute ako
looking
kung
for.
mute transfer
So
ko.
the
Yes.
second biggest thing that has happened in the senior living space is today, whom do I talk to in case of a problem? Will people be judgmental if I discuss my issues? Those barriers have gone and things have opened up. Just before you had more people had joined, there was a very interesting conversation that happened between two of the participants here, Rajam and another person, where they were talking about knitting and how, and Gitanjali ma'am, where they were talking about the cost that they were associated with. So I'm saying platforms like this open up. A technology helps in senior living significantly. As I told you, it's not going to be the rhetoric. I'll keep qualifying this again and again. It will not be a rhetoric only brick and mortar, but various trends that have happened. The third area is the area that I will be discussing, is one of the most critical areas that is affecting the seniors today, is in terms of loneliness and boredom. So what has been the trend? So many people, as I told you, are living alone. Sad are the cases where, if I take a state like Kerala, where there are huge houses and people live all by themselves because they built this when they were abroad and they've come back, and now they are nestled in their own houses and they don't have people to talk to. And I think this is where I think people like Sakun make a lot of contribution, a positive contribution, because they stave off this loneliness and boredom. And as I was telling you, we work with organization called, I'm also part of an organization called Udivi, where it's a pro bono organization which goes and gives time to people. If some elder person is lonely, the person calls us up, and then our team goes, sits and talk. If somebody wants a respite care, there are two elder people, and one person says, I want to go out, but I'm not able to leave my spouse, then Udavi goes and spends time over there. And then there are good fellows. I'm saying, so the second biggest trend that has happened in the senior living space is loneliness and boredom. I'm living in the US, and my parents or my parent is here, and my parent needs to keep occupied. I know that, as a person who's living as a senior person, there are organizations that I can connect him or her to, where this boredom. Today, the cost of boredom or loneliness is significantly high, and it is actually it's classified as a disaster. Loneliness is classified as a disaster. The next area is, in the trends that is happening on senior living, is the area of active healthcare. Okay, whether we are living in our own homes or whether we are living in an institution, healthcare has really, it's taken a huge way forward. The trends in the healthcare are significant. Right from a wearable which tells you or measures the footsteps that you do on a daily basis, which is also important because it measures your parameters. It's like something like a watch, which also notifies people when you have a fall. To a wearable like a chain which you press in it more the moment that you have a problem or you have a fall, you just press it and it immediately reaches out to about 4 or 5 mobile numbers that are connected to it. To something called a clinic in a box where you don't have to go to check your vitals. The person comes, a paramedic can come to your home right from your ECG to your BP to your blood sugar to your HB1AC to your pulse oxygen. Everything can be measured right at your doorstep. Now, it is just not measured. These are converted into electronic medical records. So I'm a person who's living. It's a big thing because all data is automatically stored as an electronic medical record, which is very, very useful, especially for people who travel abroad. Right? When you travel, many people would like to carry their records with me, and these are things, new trends in the healthcare that have happened. Now, what do I do? Today, there are organizations like Dozy or CuboCare, which also measure your vitals when you're sleeping. Do you know today, if you have not moved in your sleep for about an hour, if you have not stirred, it sends an alarm to a person saying, hey, this person is sleeping and is not stirred for an hour. Do check out if there is a problem. So if you look, this is a very new trend that is happening in and so much so healthcare trend is so much so that you can zone the bed. There is a husband and wife, the bed is zoned. They say the left zone has moved, the right zone has not moved. All these kind of things are available in India, in Bangalore today and across, which is available for people. I'm saying for people who are living alone and people who want to set up these things at their home, it's very, very possible. And there are companies like in the US, you had this company called Pillbox, and in Bangalore, you have this organization called Pharma Lama. What does Pharma Lama do? Many of us are forgetful. We don't take our medicines in time, right? This company packs your medication based on the dosages and by the time. It puts a date. It says today is 8th. 8th, it packs your breakfast, your pre-breakfast medicines, post-breakfast medicines. It gives you a list so that if you have not eaten a medicine at a time or you've not consumed the medicine at a time, you know at the end of the day that you have missed. So much. And these are packed beautifully and comes in. And what they do is these organizations also call you once that medicine cycle is nearing an end, a week before they call you and remind you saying, hey, you have to reorder your medicines. Just imagine. I mean, to me, these are the new trends that have come into senior living, and India is the place for it. Another very interesting thing that I noticed and I also worked on was one of the IIT initiatives, which is swivel seats. Many of us have these weak joints, knees, especially as we grow older. We are not able to get in and get off of cars very comfortably, correct? And we'd love to go for a travel, but we are really afraid saying that, hey, will it be comfortable for me? How will I get into a car? How will I get out? Now, there are companies which have got these swivel seats where the seat automatically comes out of the car. It comes to 180 degrees where you can sit in and then you can get into the car. And for so many elders, this has become a big boon. They've been able to travel. There is an organization in Bangalore. I'm also quoting organization. Let me qualify here. I have nothing to do with this. But as I talk about an organization, I also have to give you names for you to go and check out what they offer. So there is this organization in Bangalore called Turn Plus, which does that. And there is this lady who runs, Vidya, who runs an organization called Kickstart Cabs, who provide these vehicles for the elderly and for the physically challenged to reach the hospitals or go for their medical care. So this for me is another trend that has happened in the living. The next trend is that the smart homes. As I told you, I'm addressing two facets in this whole presentation: people who are living in your own homes and people who are living in institutions. Institution is a slightly detailed topics. How do I choose the institution to go to? That we will come a little later down the discussion. Okay. So far, is the speed okay? Am I talking too fast? Everything is fine. Great. So the next one I thought is smart homes. My wife is very conscious. After she's gone out, she suddenly say, "Have I switched off the geyser? Have I switched off the, you know?" And she'll pull the lock 3, 4 times to check out if the door is really locked. And many of us do this, right? So today, smart homes are a fantastic options for elders. The moment you close your door, with the mobile phone, you can switch off the fans, you can switch off the geysers, the television, every electrical gadget or a switch in your house. Just imagine no major tech. It's very easy installation, and this is something that has become a boon. Today technology has gone to such an extent that your son sitting in, let's say, Switzerland, can call and say, mom, I don't think you've closed the gas valve, cooking gas valve properly, there is a leakage. Even that is gets detected and gone. So much is available. All you have to do is to just look out for information, and that information is there, right? So as I told you, the operating systems have become very very easy with smart home concepts. Even sitting inside the home, you can watch a TV, dim the light. It's something like an Alexa, right? You can do it through Alexa. You can also do it on your own. So these are things that have come up. The next one that I wanted to talk about is patient hoists. Many of them have probably, are bedridden, or we are not able to get off the bed very easily. And I'm sure many people will be facing this problem. There are hoists on top of the bed, which, you can reach out with your hand and just, it's like a thing in the metro train or whatever, where you catch hold of that and push yourself up. Other than the reclining beds and all that, you can also get up, and this becomes very very useful. These hoists become very very useful for people. There are also hoists that are that help. As I told you, many of the seniors take care of seniors. I may be taking care of my wife who is about 75 or 76. I might not be physically fit to move her up in case she has a fall. Today, there are hoists which just grabs you, lifts you up, and puts you onto a chair. All these things are happening, and many of these are now being for the many of these are being displayed at the aging conferences. That is the next trend which has come up. Is today, if you look at the exhibitions and conferences space, there is a huge space which is coming exclusively for seniors. Seniors so far were neglected, but suddenly they found that this is a huge opportunity area for business. As I told you, let us look at the positive aspect, saying, hey, I will look at it, and I will showcase my products here so that a senior will be able to come and see it, right? Including places, I don't know how many of you see movies, but there are a lot of movies which have different kind of wheelchairs which gain prominence after the movie. People go and say, I want this kind of a motorized wheelchair for myself. And those are the things which, have kind of come in, right? Education. The next area that I'm going to touch upon is education. I'm not talking about education. One interesting trend of people living in senior living is people sitting in their homes, just like you're doing now, can access things that they wanted to do for a long time. I know a set of seniors who are learning Japanese now. They're all 65 to 70. They are learning conversational Japanese because they feel that they should do something new, right? There are people, education is also offline education. In Chennai, there are a lot of programs. We have done programs for people who are going abroad for the first time to take care of their grandchildren and things like that. These people want to know, how do I use a steam iron? Because the daughter says, when you come there, mom, you have to iron everything. There are no, I mean, here we are very lucky. We have these dabba guys outside, they laundry all our clothes and give it there. You have to do everything. We have tied up with companies where these companies come and teach you how to use an iron. They also tell you what kind of plug points you use in those places, right? Because it's very different. Your plug system is very different over there. And this is only a simple thing I'm saying, right from making salads, right? Because people say, hey, I want to know what is a salad dressing. Okay, a lot of people when they when they travel overseas, they would like to learn all these things, and they'd like to close gaps that they perceive that they have when they go abroad. And these are basic life skills, and these life skills are also a part of the education that we have. That brings me to the next trend, which is a very very interesting trend that is happening in senior living, is the trend to travel. Gone are the days where you can say, oh, I'm old, what do I do? I'm going with a set of people. I'm not able to keep pace with the travel, where I'm not able to keep pace with how they're running around and seeing things. Today there are travel companies that cater exclusively for seniors. You have companies like Care Voyage in Bangalore. You have Silver Talkies, which recently did a trip to Uzbekistan. I'm just naming a few. You have Senior World. You have customized travel today and senior living, where you can also have your own tour person, a person who will accompany with you and take you and bring you back. So this is another trend that has happened in senior living. As I told you, I had a very interesting conversation with the Alaska tours person, and that person said, Shikmar, I'm actually looking forward for more of elders coming on the trip. So I said, why would you do that? He's saying, these young guys come in. Sorry, Priya. Uh, these young guys come in and they backpack. They hardly
I
take
am a old
they
soul only. Yeah,
no, no,
completely
they're
fine.
saying these guys make their own, they make their own salads, whereas the elders come, they experience everything on the cruise. They are actually, they are increasing our business on the cruise, and they're so light, they want to experiment everything. So today, travel has become again, a new trend for, I mean, you name it and you have it, right? From, a traditional tour, a tour of culture, a cuisine tour. You have all these things. You have so many tours that are curated for the seniors. And then we come to reading, the trends for seniors in reading. I was looking at I was in a senior community. Okay, to tell you that I currently am the executive director of one of the senior communities, and I handle services for them. And besides that, I was the CEO of one of the largest senior communities. One of the biggest things that they do is they stack up a library. And believe me, every week we had to just dust the books because nobody was touching the books. Because these were huge books and people didn't have the patience or the eyesight to go through, those kind of books, which we used to love reading when we were younger. You need line spacing today in these books. So today, what has happened is newer forms like Kindle, audio books, these are, or e-books, these are the things that have really taken the market by storm. So these are all called disruptive technologies which have completely disrupted the way you have a habit. So today I would love to read a book, but I don't have the patience to read it. I can hear the book. I can go through an audio book. So I'm not going to travel, I mean, take much, but I'm just giving you examples of trends that have happened. I'm touching upon, I totally have 15 trends, so bear with me. I've come up to 10. So the other trends, these are all very, very interesting trends. The next one is the personal safety. As I told you today, senior living, if you're living alone or if you're living with someone else, wearables with alarm triggers. I already touched upon this earlier. It could be right from a watch to a pendant that you can wear, or it could be just a sling that you can pull in the toilet in case, because toilet is a place where many people have an accident and they fall. So these have all come in, and also one very, very recently I saw a very unique innovation was a mobile phone with white calling facility. What is a white calling facility? You can choose the numbers from whom you want to receive a call and block the other numbers. And the numbers by itself are very big and easy for you to use. And most important, it is connected to an emergency. It has got an emergency button. The moment you think you have an emergency and you press it, it reaches 3 to 4 people immediately. It just goes hunting and they immediately call you. And so this is another trend that has happened in the elder living. Next one is a subject that everybody talks about. Is a very favorite topic these days is AI, artificial intelligence. Right? So AI in senior living, how is AI impacted senior living positively? Is AI is taking the world by storm, and definitely elders are no exceptions. Robos have come in. Robos have come in countries like Japan, where people are lonely, people need help, and where there is a shortage of manpower. Robos have come in to help them. And in Singapore, the government has pledged more than $1 million, to improve AI specifically for the elders. And they have created an initiative called the Memory Lane, where an elder can go and document his or her life. Now, this is a very, very interesting trend. I'm bored, I'm lonely, or I'm a person. I just listened to two people today, and the kind of wealth of knowledge that they have and what they have done to the society. These need to be documented, and once it becomes documented, it makes a very purposeful thing for the generations to follow. So this is again, one of the things AI has come into. The next one is fall detectors and sensors. As I was telling you earlier, 1 in 3 elderly Indians experience a fall each year. 1 in 3. The ratio is very, very alarming. And 60% of the falls occur at home. I'm not telling this to alarm you. I'm just telling you that solutions are available. And over 70% of the elderly falls are not reported. right? And 40% of the elderly fall victims experience recruit I mean they experience recurrent falls within the next 6 months. And fall injuries can consume up to 50% of an elder person's annual expenses. It can become, see, once you have the fall, they say, are the beginning of many things. And therefore, what are the trends at home? I am at home today. There are fall detectors which will say you're going to fall. It will warn you, saying, hey, you're likely to fall. And there are sensor lights the moment you put your leg down, and these are not expensive. Very, very, whatever I'm talking about are not expensive. These are very, see, India is a huge market. So there's a huge opportunity here. Moment you put your leg down, sensor lights come in. When you're getting down from the bed to go to the washroom in the night, your sensor lights automatically come in. And these are all part of the retrofitting and modification that you do to your home to make sure that you remain safe. And as I told you earlier also, there are systems that even if you've not moved a bit from your bed, let's say for an hour or so, you have not moved, the gadget will immediately raise an alarm saying, hey, this person has not moved for more than an hour, right? I'm sure you all must have, you all know the veteran singer Vani Jairam, right? She passed away. It was a very sad case. She had fallen off her bed and she passed away, and nobody knew it for at least 20 hours, right? Because there was nothing from her side that could tell that she has fallen. Now I'm not telling that everybody would fall, but I'm saying you can prevent a fall, or in case you've fallen, there are enough and more options. As I told you again, to go back, I'm touching upon senior living as people living in their own houses and people living in institutions. In an institutions, many of us will be provided by the institution. As an home, you should, because 99% of people still remain in their own homes. uh, the next very interesting trend that has come in, I'm sure many elders, or even you, will face any of these issues: constipation, incontinence, pelvic disorders, migraines, lower back pain issues, or Parkinson's tremors, various things associated with it. Today, there is a non-invasive technology that is coming, which is extremely cost effective. It is available through most of the hospitals, even in Bangalore. Okay, it is a technology which works on neuroplasticity, right? They use a very, very simple thing called electromyogram. And this electromyogram, tells you where the issues is, and it cures it through, let's say, 8 sittings or 10 sittings. And let me tell you, per sitting is not very expensive a lot. It's about 750, 800 rupees. Just imagine, these are things where they have actually proven that things can be. And this is the Johnson and Johnson incubated company, which has a JCI certification. So these are the highest standards globally. So such facilities are also available. One thing, in I wanted to I also enjoy doing this session is, through this, if you're able to tell a few other people of what is available to them, it would be nice. Because the life of elders, it can be so positively impacted with all these changes, in this. The other very nice system that has come in is a buddy system. So how many of you here, I don't know if you've heard of the buddy system. I want to go for a movie. I want to leave my husband alone at home. I don't want him to be alone, but I want somebody to sit with him. Okay. Buddy system is also what Udavi does, is where I'm lonely. I want someone to come and sit with me, or I want somebody to take me to a theater. I want to go to a nice restaurant. I want to play a game of cards. All these are available both on a non-paid or a pro bono basis and on a paid basis today. Tata's had, this Goodfellows thing by Shantanu of Tata's is one of the best, things. Is one of the best examples. Udavi, again, is a pro bono organization working wonderfully well, where you have Rajem here and you have Sabita Radhakrishna, who's the founder. They're doing excellent work to stave off loneliness. But more importantly, it's a buddy system. You have a problem, you call immediately. And one of their biggest beneficiaries is a 98-year-old woman, right? So agile, she'll just call and order saying, I want to go here. I've had the interactions. One of the persons I have dealt with, she calls me and says, hey Shri, I want to go and have a bottle of, can I have a glass of wine? I want to go out. Can we take? Elderly lady. I'm just saying, people would like to just have a buddy. They would like to have a friend to go out, as long as it's a safe. So today you have buddy systems which are verified, which are very safe, that or I want to go for a dialysis and I'm alone, I don't have anybody to go. All these buddy systems become, Bangalore has got so many of them, Chennai has got, Kolkata has got these systems. There is so much, happening, in this area as well. So far so good. If I don't hear any comments, I feel little confused.
Yes, yes,
Gitanjali
very
ma'am is
good,
smiling, but
very
okay.
good, very
Priya
good.
is, I hope it's going fine.
Yeah, yeah. I
We
Yeah,
think
we are
based
near,
on
everything.
we are
today's work,
nearing the living segment. Okay, I
yeah.
have just one more. Is I don't know how many of you, the latest trend in senior living is something called the 14567 line. It is a government initiated line. It's 14567. Any help that you require, you call this line, whether you want a care agency requirement or whether you want to know about a hospital. 14567 is operated at most of the cities. It's operated at Chennai, Hyderabad, all these cities, which is a step taken by the government. The government has come out with a number of initiatives. Of course, in many of these cases, Tata Trust is involved. So note this number 14567. Now, there is also a number, 103, which is for your digital. Today, many of the elders are falling prey to digital scams. I'm sitting at alone at home. I get a message saying, "Hey, you have to upload your Aadhaar." So many people have got knowledge of this, but still they fall into a prey. So that is a number that you should know. And I want to take a specific example by the Chennai, Greater Chennai Police. They have launched a scheme called Bandham, where you go register. Anybody above 75 years of age can register, in the scheme, and the police will come and help you with whatever you require. So I'm stopping at this stage with these 15. I can go on. I love this topic because the last 9 years I've been breathing, senior living in its various manifestations. And believe me, I've not even scratched the surface. So much is happening in this sector, right? So now coming to, as I told you, if I go specifically to the brick and mortar, so Geetanjali ma'am earlier I think was mentioning that she would like to understand what are the options that are available. Uh, one is I was touching upon senior living at home. How can you make your home elder friendly? How can you make it safe? Many of the things that I've told you directly go to help you make your because 99.9% of the population lives in their own homes. So senior living for me would certainly denote something where how do I stay independent, how do I secure a good living in my house? That is also senior living for me. How can I modify my home? Because one of the biggest culprits causing a fall is cluttered household. Today many people go and do some of the clients that we have worked with, we have actually gone and done a home audit. They would refuse to part with, oh, this is my grandmother's chair. I mean, you yourself are 70 and you're sitting on your grandmother's chair and you don't want to move a bulky thing. So today there is also an alternative available here. There are warehouses that have come in which take residential stuff, right? Look out for such warehouses. And so this is very, very important. So in terms of senior living, in terms of food, today in Chennai you have organizations which provide low potassium food. There are a lot of people who have embraced this concept of catering food, right? I know in Bangalore, for example, Koramangala has a lot of caterers. There are many people. So home food is something that is being catered. But today there is a very specific diet that is also catered by people, and that is a new trend that is happening. Oh, I'm you fix a, and today there are very popular courier services like Swiggy or Dunzo. Swiggy is not only ordering food, but it's also collecting and delivering at your place, saying collect it every day and deliver, and it's a paid service that is available. And that's why I said you can do a protein based diet, you can do, and these are specifically for elders and especially for
Srikumar,
women, because if you're alone, you need to, osteoporosis is one of the commonest issues in calcium. So, how do I have a food that will ensure that I get a lot of calcium
Srikumar,
into it? Yes, sir.
Srikumar.
Yeah.
How do you spell Udali?
UDHAVI.
UDHAVI.
Yeah. It's
Thank you.
udavi.net, sir, if you're looking at the site.
I have
Okay.
written in
Thank
the
you.
chat box, Purushottam sir.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. And then
Also,
the last one I'm touching
Srikumar,
about is the safety and security. As I told you, retrofitting. What will come under safety and security will be your gradients in the houses, because many of the houses, if you're living in your own house, the steppers. Whereas if you're living in an institution, these are taken care of. There would be steppers. The house would be at different levels. Even if it's a small level, it could trip you. Okay, so very very small things, like you can put a fluorescent sticker over there, or you can put a small gradient. Today, people make gradients for you, and they're not very very expensive. As I told you, there are sensor light. Very very common things today are grab bars. Grab bars need not be only at the toilets. They should definitely be next to the beds, because many of the diabetic people go into a low glycemia, that is your low sugar problem, which is far worse than high sugar. High sugar, at least you can do something. Low sugar is something that catches you, completely unaware. So grab bars next to your bed, and today there are very stylish ones. If you're thinking of something which is very ugly and sticking out, and no, there are very nice sleek ones, which will take your weight and go. There are electronic doors and door handles. With a touch of a button you can open a door, and more importantly, there are emergency alarm systems. Now there's one very very new interesting thing that's come in. People say, hey, I have built my house, or I bought an apartment long back, but I don't have this the floor is not an anti skid kind of a floor. So what happens is, today, even in Amazon, you can even have things like, there is something called a lizard paint which adds to the grip. It doesn't change the tile color. It is transparent. It is, you can actually make your things safe. I'm saying, not only your bathrooms, it also makes sense for you to have wherever if you're on glossy floors, making it very 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 useful, for you. So these are some of the trends that have happened for senior. If you're living alone, these are the trends that have can secure you a far far happier thing if you're living in your own premises. So now I'll come to what many people thought I'm going to start off on, is the institutional care. Okay, I have been the CEO of one of the largest retirement communities, and I'm currently also with a large retirement community, which is which is into independent living. Okay, independent living is where it is essentially, if you look at how organizations started way back in 2000 and 9 2010, that is when the senior living started to evolve, and it started evolving at Coimbatore. And even today, see, Chennai, I mean, sorry, South has about 60% of the market share of senior living. All of them targeted elders who were independent. These were, sorry to use the words here, but these were real estate companies, which brought, they were able to sell off a senior community at a slightly higher price, but they were not built to handle aging process. Now, what do I say by aging process? If I'm all right, I'm absolutely fine till about 90, I have no problem. If I develop dementia or Alzheimer's, if I have a Parkinson's, then what happens is they were directed to the hospitals, or they were directed to medical centers or dementia, because they were not equipped to handle, right? Or they'll say, take a person, put them in your house, and there will be a lot of restrictions. So one of the biggest things I tell people when they're choosing their living solutions is, look at what is available. Is it corporate, and is it geared to handle contingencies and the aging process? Today, most communities have started moving toward assisted living, because they realize that that is the part of aging, and they also realize very clearly that they cannot sustain with just a brick and mortar kind of a facility. Now, I can put a grab bar, I can put a thing, I can have a common kitchen. I can say this is a community, people can come here, people can talk, they won't feel lonely. And then I could do Bhagavad Gita classes, I can do I can do music. But at the same time, at the end of the day, one, remember, you're paying for all of that. And two, is it what I need? Right, is it what I need today? So many of them have now started talking about, oh, I have built a swimming pool, so what do I do? So communities have now started this new concept saying hydrotherapy. It suddenly came across to them saying, oh, I can coin the word hydrotherapy, because it has got its own results as well. It's very good. But I'm saying many of the communities came up without taking these aging thing in process. right? Even ramps, even the door sizes of bathrooms, which is you have to have the bathrooms with door sizes where a wheelchair can move in. You can ask today saying, why do I need to build a door with a wheelchair to move in? I don't need a wheelchair. You don't need it today, but you might need it tomorrow. So is the community geared to look at that? As part of the work that we have done, we have actually provided solutions for, as I told you, I mean, as Priya had said, we have worked with more than 9,000 families independently to provide solutions. But, no two people have the same needs, right? It's not like one shoe fits all. Somebody comes and talks about senior living. We do a comprehensive, we talk to them. Sometimes they get bored also, but we ask them all questions before we suggest, because their economic background matters. And let me give you a very, because this is a very cosmopolitan group, let me tell you, most of the communities were non-alcoholic and non-veg groups. So if I've come from a cosmopolitan kind of a thing and I would like to have a wine or I'd like to have a drink once in a way, then it would be a taboo within that. So we take the lifestyle of the person, we take the socio-economic background, and then we suggest what would be suitable, than just not say, okay, go here, go there. Two, what can I afford? That is a big question. What would be the monthly maintenance? Okay, these are again things that we take into account before we suggest. Third, very important is the age factor. If I'm 75 and above, should I buy or should I lease or should I rent? These are options, and these are options that you have to carefully look into. And now retirement communities are, realizing that, lease option and rental options are there. So gone are the days where it's just a real estate. Now comes in a new player. There is a builder, there is an investor, and then there are tenants, right? So leasing has become, if you look at places like Atulya, which is an assisted care facility, or if you look at the Nikasa village in Bangalore, all these are assisted living facilities where you don't pay and you don't own. You are there on a rental basis. So when I'm 75 or 80 and my children are abroad, they are not going to come back here. Does it make sense for me to buy a senior living, or does it make sense for me to rent it? Now, here again, you have two options. Now, I'm saying lease and rent. What are the difference? The difference is, if you look at, one of the best communities that I've come across in Cochin, I'm touching different places. Okay, if I touch up on Cochin, there is this community called the Blessed community, which leases. You don't buy. You pay upfront a certain amount which diminishes year after year. Suppose, and they have a minimum stay period. After fifth year, you're saying, I'm going to leave. They deduct the rent for the 5 years and give you back the lease amount. So lease is a stage where you pay upfront a certain amount, and over a period of time, that amount diminishes. You don't pay a rent. Okay. Here you're insulated against any rental escalations and against an organization asking you to go. The other, renting, is where I buy a senior community. I'm not going to come for 2 to 3 years. And I'll say, hey, I'll tell the community, listen, can you rent it on my behalf? They rent it to another senior person who falls within their parameters of who a senior is. And then they rent it out. But the catch here is you'll have to vacate when the original person comes, and there is no continuity guarantee. As one gets older, there is also there is also this insecurity saying, if I'm asked to go out suddenly, where will I go? So these are the two differences between a lease and a rental option, but both are catching up significantly today, and players are significantly moving, saying, okay, I will build, I will lease, or I'll build, I will rent, I will not sell. So these are things that are coming across in things. The other thing that you should know in a retirement community is very, very important aspect is you are paying for everything. You are paying for a service, right? You're going to live for 25 years. See, one thing in India, one of the, not only India, in most of the thing is our aging, or the longevity of life is so high that earlier days, if you're 60 or 65, that means you've got your life lived well. Today you're living to 75, 80, 90. So you have to take this into account when you're deciding on a living, if you on somebody who is offering you a living thing. Can this organization support me? Is it a corporate organization or is it a proprietary organization? Does it have a vision to take care of me for 30 years? What will I do? Those are things that you have to keep in mind. So touching upon, we will come to question answers. So this is so much for living, how it works, how the costs are shared, all those things. I'm sure there will be a question answer session. The next living is the next kind, as I told you, is the assisted living. Assisted living is essentially for people who cannot handle certain chores for themselves on a day-to-day basis, they go to an assisted living facility. And essentially in India, as of now, I'm talking not about a few exceptions, but the average age in assisted living is about 73, 74 when people get in, because that is when they really move into that stage, and children are abroad, and so they feel that they should get into a facility like this. Assisted living facilities handle end to end. In fact, so many new things have come up. They video connect you with your family once in a week, and then your nursing station is there. The touch of the button, the nurse is automatically at your, they have protocols, standard operating protocols, saying within 2 minutes or 3 minutes the person has to. So whatever I told in terms of gadgets will all be there. Bathroom, the pendant, the watch, all these things are given to you there. It's a part of your eligibilities. When you're living alone, you have to create these there because you're paying a significant amount. As of now in India, there is assisted living is quite expensive. Okay, you have Antara, which is part of Max, which is doing it. You have Atulya, which is doing it, and then you have Kites in Bangalore, which is doing it very, very well. This is the second kind of organization. The third organization is your care continuum or your rehab care organizations. I have had a surgery, I can't go back home, or they're painting my house. I have an asthma problem. I can't be there for 15 days or 20 days. I have health ailments. I will go to a care continuum place where it will be equipped just like a hospital, where you'll be taken care of and sent back home after duration, or you can stay there continuously. All these will have, right from physiotherapy to all those facilities will be available at the care continuum places. The fourth area is the memory care, dementia, which sadly in India we don't have enough organizations to handle. Though it is the most common, India is home to more than 6 million people with dementia, and believe me, less than 15% is diagnosed. So the number of people living with dementia could be so much higher. It is not reported, and still medication or place available is not. It's not there. COVID was one of the classic cases where families really didn't know how to manage, because and various things happen in dementia. You suddenly disrobe yourself. You will when an office call is going on, you'll suddenly come in. So I'm saying need for having institutional care for dementia has come up. And today, there are people doing right from home care, which people like Nightingales are doing so well. There are so many organizations that work on the dementia thing. Here again, when I was talking about, I need to touch upon, there is this organization which is Bangalore based, but with Pan India. It is called Dementia India Alliance, DIA. Google for DIA. You have any issues, you can talk to somebody. They have yellow pages of caregivers. They have all those details. And this is again, when I say, this is a trend in senior living that has come in. And the last thing is that other than memory care, is the palliative care facilities, end of life. This again is a very, very, people think it's very sad state, but then this is, many people go through this as well, right? There are very good organizations in Bangalore, the Rotary and Karunashriya have done a fantastic work in the cancer area. Chennai, the cancer hospital. There are a number of organizations now which have come up to handle palliative care. Now, these organizations are not part of your regular living or your assisted living. So let me stop here. I think my voice, I myself being a little defensive about my voice. So I'm opening it up to any questions or interactions that you may want.
Sir, I was about to say we are at 6 p.m. now.
Yeah,
Life
I have
question
stopped.
answer is left.
I have a glass slipper that I'll leave here.
Sir, that's okay. The
Uh,
information packed session was too good. I think Sonali ma'am already mentioned in the chat box.
Thank you.
Smita ma'am was asking something in between, I remember.
Yeah,
Smita ma'am.
So uh, first of all, a very fantastic session with a lot of information. I
thank
would
you,
say
ma'am.
rather a overdose of information for us. But anyway, my main concern was like, how does this all information reach out to the people? It's like there are so many senior citizens, and like we are a part of Sukoon, we got this opportunity. But many people who are there are they don't have a resource to connect to get this information, and they require and they have even the capacity to avail it. That is one thing. And one small thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned about some anti-skid some
Paint.
paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody
Okay.
also mentioned in the group chat saying they've used it.
Yes, yes,
Acha.
Diana sir did.
So I just want to know little about it if you can spare some
Ma'am,
time.
this is it's on Amazon. As I told you, we're not advocating
Okay.
any brands, we're not selling any
Yeah,
brands.
yeah.
But this
Okay.
is a paint. Not only this one name that came to my mind. Okay,
Okay.
these are paint where you call in your regular painter paints it on your floor, right?
Okay.
And once it dries, it gives you a very sturdy grip, and it
Okay.
does
Okay.
not spoil your tiles.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Very interesting, rather.
Yeah. And
Thank
the other question is, how do we reach out to people? I think that's a
you.
very good question, because the challenge is, how do I reach out information? It can go
Mm-hmm.
through communities like Sukoon. There are various organizations. In fact, in Bangalore, the Bangalore Rotary is the only organization, District 3090 is the only district in India which has a separate chapter for, elders. Okay, so
Okay.
I think if like-minded people can get together, as I told you, there is this organization called DIA which is reaching out significantly, but it's towards a cause for dementia. We need to put this in, and we need to move it to people. Getting this information across is very, very critical. I told you 14567 line is available now. Many people, they've advertised this, so many people are aware of this. But yes, it has to reach at a rural level. It needs to reach more people.
Yes, yes, that's what my concern was because there's a whole lot of senior citizen, even in my family, I have a whole lot of them, 90, 80, 70s. So when I talk to them about these things, it comes like a big news for them. They're not aware of it.
Sure,
So
ma'am. And
thank you
one
so much.
interesting thing could be, you can send them today. What is happening is this has become an industry in itself. So
Yes.
the next time, I think Sukoon could inform people when there is a conference. In fact, in December, the Association of, November end, 26 November, the date precise, the Association of Senior Living had a conference in Bangalore where many of the products were showcased, right? So these are informations on events calendar that, could be shared. People can go there and find out, what is happening in that particular industry.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Sir, Abraham sir had asked in the chat box
Yep.
that kindly provide details of Udhavi.
I gave udavi.net is the site. And we have Rajam here, who is part of Udavi. So it's a website, but Udavi is available only in Chennai.
Okay. Abraham sir, is that okay? You're on
What
mute.
is Udavi about?
Udavi is an organization that works to stave off loneliness, and it works with the elders, where it's a pro bono organization which gives time for the elders. They have it works through a set of core members and volunteers who enjoy going and spending time with the elders. So essentially, to go with them for a movie or sit with them and talk. They go even sing songs, bhajans. They do a whole lot of things. It depends upon the palate that the person wants. It basically is to stave off loneliness. Read a book, short stories, so many things
Thank you.
happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shrikumarji, Sonali here.
Yeah, Sonalji.
Is it okay to reach out to you because you have given so much information? It is so useful, and we need to go through the recording once again, probably to uh, get the information more into our heads. But if we have queries or uh, information we seek specific to our city,
Yeah,
okay, like I'm based out of Kolkata, is it okay
yeah.
to reach out to you on your email or
I will
something?
let Priya react to that.
Yeah. So Sonali ma'am, with any question, you reach out to Sukoon team and we will share your query with sir.
Okay, sure, that works very well. And thank you. This has been a very good session. Fantastic,
Happy
informative
finally.
session.
Thank you, ma'am.
In,
Thank you so much. I
in
enjoyed interacting. I mean, though I was speaking most of the time, but I would have loved to interact.
No, but
It's
the thing is, what Smitaji said, it is really overdose of information also because we are hearing so many things together in such a short span of time. But since it is recorded, I think this will be very good for future reference and to, leverage it, use this information.
Yeah, two things. There was a challenge, ma'am, because the topic was, of such a thing that when you say senior living, normally people, take it only to a community, retirement community. But I thought, 99% of people live in their own homes. So for me, senior is how do I, how do I live independently so that was the first thing that I had, and then the institution was always there.
Sir, I really appreciate the information you shared, because there's so much happening in the
Yeah,
senior living space, which is what you tried to share with us.
yeah,
We were not aware on what are the various aspects where so many things are happening. You
mm,
touched upon that. That
yeah,
is why we need to go through this session recording again and get the entire gamut, understanding of that. But yeah, I mean, we look towards help from Sukoon, and through Sukoon to you, to experts like you, to give us the support and information that we need in the coming time, because
Sure. Thank you.
it's a lot of information for us, and we'll have to reach out to the right points of contacts and institutes to learn and leverage what we can to make life
yeah, yeah.
organized for us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Sonali ma'am.
Definitely.
So I think Sangeeta ma'am, you raised your hand. Is there any question from your end?
No, I think Sonali has said everything that I wanted to.
Okay.
So thank you, sir. Most informative
Thank you
and
so much, ma'am.
like
Great.
packed, fully packed.
Abhijit sir has also mentioned in the chat box, Srikumar sir, that
Yeah.
we joined a bit late, but still it was an excellent session packed with information. So
Thank you.
my reaction was the same when I met sir for the first time. I did not go with a copy and pen. My first thought was never, never meeting another person without a notebook.
No, I must just tell you, see, I have about 28 years of experience, very, very senior. I was the chief operating officer for Randstad in India and all that. But at the stage when I got into this because my mother went, I must also relate. I was in my 50s when my mother went through dementia and I had to quit. I was in Delhi. I moved back to Chennai. I had lost my father when I was young. I'm the only child, so I had moved. I didn't even know what I had to do. I mean, those days things were not evolved. I did not know what a care agency was. How do I deal with them? So on and so forth. So I said that sometime in my life, after I kind of settle down, I'll move into this area. So for me, in the last 9 years, we've done about 20 projects, including projects for hospitals. Day in and day out is evolving. We do just 2 projects in a year, and sad. I told you I worked with the largest exhibitions and conferences company. I'm saying that opened my eyes. I mean, today I did not touch upon a few areas that somebody would have said, "Oh God," because financial services today, 25%, though some say 47, 25% of the bank deposits are held by the seniors. So the banks better behave themselves and do something, not give that 1% extra or 0.5% extra. What do I do more for the senior citizens? Can I have a CSR initiative? Because if I take out the 25% of deposits, and where will I go for? I'm saying it has to kindle that kind of a reaction from people like the financial services sector.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else before we wrap up the session? Any more query? Haan, Gitanjali ma'am, unmute yourself.
Rather than it being just, in the air. That's all.
Srikumarji, Sonali here.
Yes, Sonalji.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Your 20 years of experience in this field has
No,
made
9 years. 9 years only.
9 years.
Yeah.
Has made you like an encyclopedia and on all this happening. Now, for people like us who are in the senior years, can we also, by way of pro bono or whatever way, get involved? Like we are members of Sukoon, are there ways to get involved to get a better understanding of what is happening in this uh, age
Sector.
age tech areas, all the various trends and things that are happening? How do we keep ourselves informed on these? Is
Ma'am,
there,
as Priya
is there
was suggesting, we have a news magazine. It's an infotainment magazine. It's nothing heavy on that. Right from a movie. See, after the COVID, the elders came to us and said, "Hey, Srikumar, don't give me anything about fall or dementia or anything. Give us something very light to read and something which is enjoyable. Jokes, some slight, cooking things or movie reviews on OTT. These are what is coming on that. Plus, we have on a regular basis, we track information on a national basis and international basis, which is there on the site. Right? What is happening? There are very, very sad things like, in Japan, people shoplift so that they can, I'm sure you'd have heard, they go to the jail because they want company. They don't have people to talk to. They do small shoplifting that I'm saying There are so many things happening, and you can, I mean, we can work with Sukoon to see how you could be informed on all these things.
Yeah, I think that would be best, because the magazine that you spoke of, frankly, I am not particularly interested in movie reviews and jokes and all that. Not
Yeah,
interested, because that is not the core focus of my
right,
interest. I am more interested on these information of what trends and what services and facilities and options are available out there in the world for senior people. And
right.
if there is a way for your organization and Sukoon to work together and bring that to us in the form of a magazine or a blog, that and we can look up,
Definitely,
and
ma'am.
since Priya is here as well, Priya, if
Yeah.
some such updates are possible, then I think it would help the entire community as to what is available out there and what.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Feedback
Sure.
taken.
So, Priya, in April, there is a very big thing called the Aging Asia conference that is happening in
Okay.
Singapore for 4 days. And that would be throwing in a whole lot of products and services that have come to this area.
Okay. April, when did you say, sir? April?
It's April 11th to 15th, if I recollect it right. It is happening at Singapore. It's called the Aging Asia Festival.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Srikumar sir, for your time today. I know it was like very, very valuable to all the people who joined, and definitely those who did not join missed it. But you all have been requesting for someone from the industry. I mean, personally had met Srikumar sir, very, very resourceful industry expert in this particular area, especially. So I hope this provided value to all of you, and you guys got to learn something new today. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for joining
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you.